start off with the bridge exercises. So we lay on our back here. The biggest thing is still remember we're not trying to arch the back. So we want to draw the abs on in and flatten out the spine against the floor. Make sure you have that motion before moving on. Keep that engagement so that you're not doing this. This is the opposite of what we want. If you can see this, my back is arched, I can slip my hands between each other. That is the opposite of what we want. We want to be dead flat. Hips are rocked forward, no airspace between here. Once we got that, we're simply gonna press our hips on up and we're going for our first of several bridges. We raise on up and we're squeezing the back of our leg muscles. I love this exercise. It's a conceptual exercise to show that the muscles that are involved in keeping our body upright are the hamstrings and the glutes. Everyone thinks it's the back. The back keeps you upright. It allows you to bend and twist some, but the primary muscles that keep our hips in alignment between our knees and our shoulders, what's important while we're standing, are the glutes and the hamstrings. So if you can strengthen these muscles on up, make them do their fair share, then the back can get a load off. And if you have back issues, it's a possibility that strengthening up the glutes and the hamstrings can help relax the back some. People think they got to strengthen their back more, which allows it to have a bit more endurance, but if it's doing all the work, it will inevitably get tired. You need to have some helper muscles, and these can train them on in. All right, so that's our first one. Hold that up as long as you can, rest on down, bring it back up. You can go repetitions down, up, down, up, down, up, whatever you feel like. It's a totally viable option. Or you can just hold it up like we did for a static exercise. Also viable. But we got different variations here. Let's go out really wide with this. I'm gonna put my legs out wide, I'm gonna keep my knees out wide, and I'm gonna press on up. I can feel it right on the outside of these hips now. A little bit different than the first one. Keep pressing those knees on out. That's a very important one. You also get a stretch across the inner thighs. It's amazing how just a small change in the same exercise can start to put the strain on such different parts of the muscle. The body's full of tiny little muscles that help out all the time. And if you don't think about working them on out and keeping them working, when all of a sudden they are asked to work, when you're out of balance or in a slightly precarious position, it can be a real shock to them and they don't want to turn on. So we'll turn them on now under nice controlled circumstances so that when we need them to turn on in uncontrolled circumstances, they'll be ready. All right, next variation, knees together, feet together. You're holding a piece of paper between your knees. Press on up. Make sure you're not arching the back, okay? We want to make sure we keep some engagement in the abs. But we are keeping those knees together. Oh yeah, I know you can feel a difference here. Right in that middle of that hamstring. Don't cramp up. If you think you're going to, go on down and rest. It's important to not cramp. It'll really put a damper on the rest of the practice. Moment longer. And let's bring it on down. All right, we're gonna go through each of those three one more time with a slight variation. We're gonna move our feet a little further than what they were. So I usually like to start where I can about touch my heels. That's just a general reference point. I wasn't quite there. Now the next reference point is I want to extend my legs until feet are flat. In this first position, as I move on out, my toes are just off the floor. I have to kind of work to put them onto the ground. You see that? It's just a little off the ground. That's a good cue for my next, for the next position. Once we're there, we'll do those three same exercises. So legs about hip width apart. We're take a breath on in and press those hips on up. And again, a slight modification of the same exercise. All of a sudden, you feel it closer to behind the knee. The hamstrings are putting a slightly more demand with a different leverage, and they have to work a little differently. Same concept though. We are asking our body to lift our big midsection and put it in alignment between the knees and the shoulders. That is the job of these muscles back here, not the back. All right, bring it on down. We'll go really wide. Same thing. You can see my toes are off the floor. Previous position, we're flat. I've extended just enough that I can't keep my feet on the floor. Knees are out, and I press on up. Same idea here. Feel it in those hamstrings and glutes, training them so that my back does not have to do too much work. Good breath in, bring them on down. Last one together. Up. And maybe another breath or two, but for time's sake, we go on down. All right, and our last challenge here will be these single leg ones. So those last ones are make sure the muscles are on. Now we're gonna work for that strength. Right leg up to the sky, weight on the left foot, lift it on up. Work on keeping this right foot in the same line as this. You can reach it on up, it's no big deal, but we don't want to be hanging out down here. At least in a line with this left foot or higher. All is good. Oh yeah, now we know those muscles are working hard. We got all of our body weight on the left side. Take a good breath in, we'll bring it on down, keep the hips on up for an extra challenge, and we'll march right on into the next side. Expect our fourth session to have a bit more of this going on, where we go right to it. But for now, just to show you, get you a taste, get you something to work on, and we'll go on down. All right, let's stretch those muscles out real quick since they just got worked. With a slight bend in those knees, I'm just gonna forward fold. Stretch out the back, stretch out those hamstrings. I'll spread out, I'm gonna go towards my left side a little bit more. Tell those muscles to relax after doing that hard work. And I'm gonna go towards my left side. All right, hamstring, you did good. Relax, relax, relax. One time down the middle. All right. Couple minutes left. As promised, we're gonna get some abs. All right, we lay on down. We work on traditional crunch. We're going to roll up one vertebrae at a time, get our shoulders to go as far as we can. Sometimes I reach for my heels or reach up my knees, and I roll back down. Is it important that you roll up one vertebrae at a time and you roll back down? And we do not lock our feet. We do not ask someone to stand on our feet. We do none of that lest we put work on our hip flexors, which is a big no. Abs are what we're after here. Once you get this concept, you can put your hands behind your head. You can do whatever you want. You can go as high as you want, as long as you roll up. Nice control. All right, so we've got that covered. We're gonna work on the lower abs. We're gonna take a breath on in. There's that air gap. We wanna flatten it on out. We wanna lift our feet off the floor. So, there's that flat back. Really important that it stays flat. Once we're here, we can start to lower our feet on down. But at any point you have that air gap return, you've gone too far. Keep that back flat. Start off with your knees towards your nose, and then work on extending. Pull those knees towards your nose, get that lower back to come off, and then work on extending. Knees towards the nose. Roll back down, keep it flat. Knees towards the nose, roll back down, keep it flat. You can work on extending as long as that back stays flat. This exercise is effective, but if you're doing this, it is not doing your abs. You're stretching your abs out. We gotta keep them contracted. All right, let's rest on up. Last little bit, we're gonna add a little bit of twisting into it. So we're gonna go back to our traditional crunch. I'm gonna put my right hand on down. I'm gonna roll up and I'm gonna rotate. And I'm gonna get as far as I can to look towards over my right shoulder, okay? I like to emphasize crunching and twisting at the same time, rather than it being like an up and a twist and an untwist and a down. I think it demands a lot more control to actually twist and crunch on up. And then of course the other side, crunch and twist on up at the same time. All right, and our final challenge is gonna be twisting, but using the lower abs and moving the lower body. So my hands go out here, I have to lift my knees up, I have to keep that back flat. If you don't have that flat back position, do not go further than this. Work on keeping that back flat here, with your feet on the ground, and work on lifting and keeping your back flat. Once you've got that, and only once you've got that, it's time to move on. So, we're gonna let our knees fall towards our right side. Slowly, we bring them back up to the center. Our back is still flat. We bring them to the left side. We bring them back to the center. Our back is still flat. Crucial, crucial. Learn to control those abs. Learn to keep them engaged throughout the entirety of the exercise. You build on range over time. For now, we work on form. One more each side. Notice as I come to the center, the back is flat. I never go like this. This is not the exercise I'm looking for. Keep that back flat. Final one to the left. Center it on up. Lower down carefully. Whew. All right. Lay on down with a few easy breaths. Feel accomplished. Feel a little looser. Feel better than I did when I started. That's the crucial part.